Hello, I'm Kirby Franze, and I have done my research rainbow over fostering support for the LGBTQ youth and the effects of a gay adolescent media portrayal on young viewers. This article researches the effects of gay adolescents in the media and the effects it may have on young non heterosexual people viewing this material. Key research in the literature review is this article discusses how in recent years media representation of LGBTQ individuals have proliferated on cable television and on demand streaming services while making incremental increases on the legacy broadcast channels. One show, The Fosters, which depicts 7 lesbian, gay, and transgender characters, including rare portrayals of gay and transgender teenagers, marked a media milestone in 2015 by depicting the youngest televised same sex kiss, which happened between two 13-year-old male characters. Show co-creator Peter Page has been vocal about his desire to push the boundaries of LGBTQ media representation, particularly as related to same-sex physical displays of affection. However, little evidence exists as to how people respond psychologically to portrayals of people like Jude and Connor. Fans of the Fosters showed excitement on social media when Jude and Connor kissed, but what happens for other viewers when they see two male adolescents physically showing affection? This study explored the reactions of young viewers to a story portraying two gay adolescents focusing on the role of gender identity and sexual orientation and involvement with the story and subsequent attitudes. Theoretical framework, major theory cited. This article used narrative theory as the foundation for their research. They explained that through one's desires to always be telling the stories of their lives via social media or through what entertainment they associate themselves with, it creates a narrative for their existence. As the media evolves towards the inclusion of other types of sexualities besides straight people's, these exposures through the media have effects on viewers. It can cause viewers to change their opinions of people of differing sexualities than their own. This is called narrative persuasion. There were two components of narrative persuasions that are central to this study: identification with characters and emotional response to the narrative. As the article discusses youth identity development, they relay the following. Certain developmental factors make youth more susceptible to the influences they encounter in their everyday lives, particularly media models. This is due to the fact that when youth pick out role models, they often place special weight on the attitudes and behaviors they see depicted by characters in the media, and they believe the world these individuals inhabit is an accurate representation of the worlds that they themselves live in. Youth may also be more sensitive to media messages related to character sexual orientations, as sexuality is especially salient during this time of development. They also discuss the parasocial contact hypothesis, where parasocial interactions are the mediated equivalent of interpersonal communication and occur because the human brain tends to process media experiences in the same way as it processes direct experiences with actual people. Research question one is there an effect of exposure to a gay adolescent media portrayal on youth's attitudes towards LGBTQ people and issues? Research question two, is there an effect of gender identity and sexual orientation on youth's attitudes in the context of viewing a media portrayal of a gay adolescent? And research question three was, if so, what are the psychological mechanisms such as emotional responses or identification with characters that underlie these effects? Discussion of methodology, etc. It was a sample of 469 participants between the ages of 13 and 21, 362 heterosexual, and 107 LGBTQ. They were randomly assigned within their respective gender identity by grouping to either the narrative or non-narrative conditions. Participants were between the ages of 13 and 21. The goal was to present a video compilation that captured the major milestones in the progression of Jude and Connor's relationship from a friendship to a romance. The questionnaire measured participants' attitudes towards LGBTQ people and issues, identification with Jude and Connor, and emotional responses to the storyline and prior exposure to the Fosters. This study reveals the impact of identity and orientation on experiences with the narrative, such as viewers whose identity and orientation align with that of the characters promoted positive attitudes towards self and community. In contrast, when viewers' characteristics do not align with those of the characters, negative emotions can be evoked, resulting in negative attitudes. Emotional responses to the narrative diverge dramatically, indicating that portrayals of same-sex relationships may be beneficial to the psychological health and well-being of LGBTQ youth, while triggering negative emotional responses, leading to negative evaluations of LGBTQ people and issues among heterosexual youth. The findings suggest that LGBTQ youth saw themselves reflected in the portrayal of two young gay characters coming to understand their identity, and these participants strongly experienced the positive emotion of hope, an elevated sense of mental energy, and pathways for goals. Though young people in the United States are more likely to support LGBTQ rights and related issues than older generations, subconsciously they may still be affected by social norms that have traditionally stigmatized LGBTQ people. Things I learned and recommendations are throughout reading and reviewing this article, I learned that there still exists feelings of homophobia among young youth towards depictions of gay people in television. I also learned there's a great importance for youth who are part of the LGBTQ community to see and relate to people that they see in the media. Just as it's important for heterosexual people to see this during, the maturing stages. I concluded there is a lack of the LGBTQ community being properly represented in the media. Additionally, I learned that further research could be done on youth's perception on media effects and on their psychosocial behavior from media effects on not only viewing gay people, but transgendered, lesbian, queer, and bisexual people. I would love to see a study done on young people's responses and feelings from watching television shows that have the previously mentioned people. And with this recent Supreme Court ruling in favor of the LGBTQ working class community, I look forward to seeing more scholastic research done on behalf of the LGBTQ community. And that concludes my research rainbow. Thank you so much for listening.